Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures. We're back today with the latest Bushido release from GCT Studios. This is their new 2-player starter set. And let me just preface this by saying that Bushido is really hard to get a hold of in the United States. GCT is obviously based outside of the United States in England, and sometimes it's not the easiest getting this stuff from across the pond, but I am a sucker for fantasy-inspired Japanese-related skirmish games, so, well, here we are. In case you're not aware of what is contained in this set, you have 6 models, 3 for each side, and I want to say that this is the bulk of the actual starters for both the starting factions, and I want to make sure I've got I want to see the prefecture of Ryu, and I forget what the Poison Clan was called. And I know I have a bunch of them painted too, because I painted the entire starter set for him. Anyways, you get 6 models in here, I know that. Why don't I show you what's inside rather than me just try to rattle off the facts that I can't remember? That would make more sense, wouldn't it? Alright, so the first thing is you have in this nice little sleeve all of the tokens that you would need in order to play a game of Bushido. So I've been happy to have those because I've needed them for quite some time. So those will be nice to have. In addition to that, we have the rules! Yay! And this is quite helpful. Ooh, and it's in color, and I painted you, and you are super delicate with your stinking sword and your crazy pose you're in. Ooh, Tengu. Well, it's nice to see that this is in color because I painted her too. This is going to be quite helpful. I think I painted that one monk. You have to dig back through some of those old videos if you want to see. I might own him, and I might have set him aside for some time. So this is nice to see. I know I've looked at the rules before, but I've never actually owned them. Eldest brother. I thought he would have had more reddish skin. I guess not. The Edo clan. Okay, that's who I'm thinking of. And I know I painted him too, but I was lame and I did not put all of his tattoos. You can see here. Again, nice color photo, so if you need any painting hints, tips, or suggestions, whoa, if I can hold that correctly, you'll definitely be able to get them there. The Shiho clan. I know I've got that guy too, because he was one of the pre-orders. And there, the Minimoto. Not the Minamoto, but the Minimoto. The Ronin, that was Toshiro. And I know he was one of the very first videos I put up almost a year ago to this day. Wow. You can check that out if you want to see. And we've got the Tengu Dissension, the Silver Moon Trade Syndicate, the Pirates, the Rolcon Temple. Who am I forgetting? The Prefecture of Ryu. I was right. And then the Savage Wave. Here is all the assorted crazy folkloric monsters. So there are quite a few factions, and I gotta say overall I've been really pleased with the models that I've gotten from Bushido, from GCT Studios. We have our usual 30mm Slaughter base, lipped ones, and I'm assuming all the necessary cards to start playing. Takashi Akira. Okay. And Ito Kinu. Don't think she's one of the ones I had before. Let's take a look at the actual models, if I can attempt to figure out how to open it without resorting to tearing the thing to shreds. Which I'm doing anyway. Okay. Well, this is an issue if you have ever dealt with any kind of fantasy or historical model. The nice, long, bendy parts. At least this can be bent pretty quickly back into place. These are the Prefecture of Ryu models. And they are one solid piece, so that's always a nice plus, especially for a starter. You're going to spend a lot less time having to build it and fiddle with it. Our friend here with the spear. Here you go when you get in focus. I'm going to have to figure out how to get... There we go. Okay. Not too complex, but the detail level is really nice. And it probably needs to be said that these models are not that small. They're closer to 32mm as opposed to 30 or 28mm, more Malifaux scale or privateer scale, I guess. Definitely not old school plastic plague marine scale. Thanks to Bob the Inquisitor for hooking me up with that guy. And finally we have our stereotypical armored samurai, whose horns want to bend and curl. I do like he's got that face mask, and I can't remember all of my samurai armor terms, and I don't have anybody handy who's going to be willing to correct me at the moment on what to call it, but it is nice. I like when they have those because I don't have to actually paint his face then. These models, if you haven't noticed, are pretty free and clear of any unnecessary flash or protrusions that need to be sliced and diced off, so that's always a plus. I mean, honestly, you could stick them on the base and they're pretty much good to go. Maybe we will. Let's take a look at the Ito clan. Of course, Ito Ogami was always the good guy. If we're going to go by, you know, Kozure Okami, Lone Wolf and Cub style. Anyway, I'm rambling about stuff. Here is our snake lady. Ito clan love their snakes. Sadly, they don't have that many snake men. I can't tell if that's supposed to be hanging off of it or not. Let's take a look at the box. I guess it is. We'll leave it be then. And our other two models are Archer. Oh, thank goodness. That's pretty impressive that it's all one piece. I built a couple of Bushido archers, and they were a pain in the butt because the arrow was actually an individual piece that had to be glued both in the hand and notched up with the bow. And it was for the Ito clan as well. It was one of their snake archers with her banjo looking hat. Anyway, that's a nice sculpt. I like him. Hopefully I can figure out some good colors to swipe and copy straight out of the rule book there. And then we have our nefarious assassin looking guy with a bent dagger. Get him straightened out there. Let's get him in focus while we're at it. So you can see he's not the most handsome of folks. Oh, I didn't even notice he's got a second dagger hidden in his cloak there. It's actually molded on. It's kind of a weird angle, but it works. I think, is that a scabbard or is that like just weird flash coming off? I don't know. Let's take a look. All right, let me grab the bases. We'll set them all up and we'll grab a couple other models and we'll see how these new models compare. So you can see we've got our two sides lined up here. Everybody's all pretty close in size. And I figured I'd grab a couple random models just to give you guys a good sense of scale. And the first thing I thought of when I saw our samurai friend here, and no, he's not exactly the same, but if you were ever going to play Shadows of Brimstone, you've got a nice little alternative model for a samurai if you don't want to play a female version, or if you know you want two males, or whatever the case may be. These are perfectly scaled for Shadows of Brimstone. Grabbing a more western looking model just to give a good size indication as well. If you want to have them wandering around doing the whole east meets west business, totally works. If you want to use them as stand-ins in Malifaux or for putting together some kind of a 10 Thunders related warband for whatever skirmish game is your choice, works there as well. Grabbing a couple random GW models to give a good sense of scale. I don't know how well our Dark Oath Queen is representative of a typical model. She is a little bit large. You can see here with all of the Ito clan, hopefully. So I don't know what you would use them for exactly in a GW game, but if you were going to do some sort of an RPG, I could totally see that working. They are quite well scaled with the older Empire models, if that's what you're looking for in terms of regular sized humans. If you want to have adventurers in fantasy roleplay, for example, heading off to far off Cathay, then hey, totally works here. Grabbing stuff like a North Star Frostgrave model along with a North Star model from their Ronin game, which is another nice skirmish game with very little in the way of fantasy elements. Some of it is there, but if you just want nice, you know, typical samurai battles, it works well with that. Also, these would work great for Test of Honor if you want to try that out. I have not had a chance to learn the second edition rules, but I had a lot of fun learning how to play first edition. Grabbing a couple other Bushido models just to give you a good sense of scale. I mean, these guys obviously are going to fit in with each other because that's what they're meant for, and good old eldest brother is dying to get himself primed. I just need to go pick up some more primer. But overall, yeah, I was a little disappointed at first to see that the starter only has 6 models. But then again, I started thinking about, when you're learning a skirmish game, do you really need to have, you know, a half dozen models on each side with crazy unique abilities? Probably not. So I think it is nice. This probably is a good way to learn the game. And I do really appreciate the fact that we've got all of the counters that we need to play. That, to me, is really helpful. And for the price of a starter, I mean, it was just a little bit... Actually, it was pretty close to the price of an individual warband, so I guess, you know, if you wanted to split that with a friend and then pick up a couple of individual blisters, it might be a cheaper alternative to starting the game. And even if you don't, I think with the 6 models you've got here, not only do you get the rules and their cards and all the necessary counters, but you've got a nice little mix of models if you wanted to toss them into some other game. Like I said, Shadows of Brimstone, here's your sorceress, your ninja, your samurai, I don't know, maybe the priest? I mean, you could probably pop out just about every single class with these models included. So I think that is kind of cool too. And they scale perfectly well in addition. So overall, really pleased. I've never had a bad thing that I've experienced with the GCT Bushido stuff. So I don't see that changing anytime soon either. Quite happy with these, and hopefully we'll get them painted. Well, there's no telling when we'll get them painted, but we'll try. With that said, this is High Lord Tamerlane with Obscurities and Miniatures saying thank you for watching, and we'll see you all later. Bye-bye.